So they done with the mandala over there, huh?
Oh, I haven't been to the Tibetan Center. I just kind of watched them online, but yeah, I've been too busy to go much.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all the way on the.
But I do watch it. I do watch them on.
Yeah, and Stephen, how you been, Stephen? How you been, and Stephen? Can you hear?
Yes, I am good. How are you?
You. All right. So last time we stopped at the bodhicitta. So today I'd like to discuss a little bit about this. Bodhicitta does mean awakened mind. So why? Sam, you know why? Why in the Tibetan tradition they focus on this bodhicitta? Why it's so important?
Well, it's the enlightened mind.
Okay.
Enlightened mind, yeah, you try to cultivate and have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why in Tibet they would focus on it more than others. I guess because they do the tantra, like the tantra really focused on specific stuff like that.
Yeah, Ms. Kirsten, what do you think?
I mean, I think it's a similar thing in Pali, but it's not this, but it's like somewhere I have a chart of Chetskya, something like that. I'm not really good with the language, but it's the construction of the Buddhist. It's like the construction of the Buddhist mind.
Oh, that sounds really good.
Yeah, so it's just I think it's just a different cultural sort of different approach to it, maybe.
Okay. And Stephen, you know why they focus on this bodhicitta?
Is it basically to help kind of like direct your mind in a way that so that you don't have all these so-called obsession, like all we're thinking is like thinking of obsession, wanting, and especially not willing to let go, because you have to gear it that way to where you're willing to let go, because if you're not, how are you going to move on to a better life, and basically understand what the true meaning of nirvana is. So that's just a general sense of my understanding. Mofate.
Yeah.
I associate it a lot with the Bodhisattva path though too.
Okay.
That particular.
All right. Yeah, that delay too. Let me show you the chart here. So in there are traditions and also in the general principle, we have what the first one is the wise understanding, wise minds or right understanding, right view is applied. All right, and the next one is what I call right intention, a wise intention here. You know what I mean now? So let's put it this way. So before you come to the temple, you need to set your mind. Oh, I'm driving to the temple.
Yeah.
Or I'm trying to work.
Yeah.
I'm trying to teach. So you set mind with a destination so that they can go. That's why in Buddhism we have to have this good set in mind, the wise intention, proper intention. So in the general explanation, instead of having the mind of desire, whichever desire we have, the food, the money, so forth. So when we gear our mind to those things, we have the tendency to raise bad karma. We fight for the food, we fight for the power and so forth, right? So that's why we go to, I mean, that's not the wrong track, but we go to the track that we raise the karma most of the time. But now here the Buddha say, okay, you need to steer that kind of mind to the right intention, to have what compassion, love and kindness, awakening. You see now? You see connection now? Right? That's why we have to gear toward that kind of awakening mind, awakening goal, whichever thing we do.
Yeah.
So that we won't get lost. If we don't have that type of goal setting, we may get lost easily. For example, let's say while you're driving from home to here, so some of your friends say, oh, okay, hey, skip today, go to do the shopping. They say, no, I set my time, my schedule to the table every Friday evening. That's, you see that, right? So that's why bodhicitta in Theravada tradition, I mean that in Tibetan tradition, so important. This and in life with this general explanation, go toward the awakening mind, awakening, enlightened goal there, instead of going to the desire or whichever we go, we used to go. That's why the first thing we need to have is to set up our mind to go wherever we want to. If we have the gaps, a path, we won't go astray. And Stephen, you follow? And Stephen?
Yes, Mofake. You
Yeah.
explained the whole thing of the general sense of what I was trying to say, but I just didn't know how to properly explain that.
Yeah, Miss Law.
But yes.
Miss Law, you follow my explanation?
I'm sorry.
Could you follow my explanation?
I need to catch up with all of you because it's my first time here, and I'm a little bit like lost. So I'm here to listening today.
That's okay.
So I don't like understand too much about it.
I know. I'll
Um,
give you that explanation. So whichever thing you do.
yeah, and I have to read while you reading, and I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. To have good intention.
Next time I'm gonna catch you up. Okay, promise.
For example, right, for the student, if
Yeah.
we don't declare the major, they may get lost easily. They may declare the major in engineer, education, and so forth. So they have that kind of path that they're going to. Otherwise, I'm seeing them. If they didn't declare the major, if they didn't know what they started, they jump here and there. They waste the time and money.
I'm new in that Buddhism, so I'm learning, and
That's, yeah. All right. So let's start then. That's what's so important.
When we teach jumping, jumping horses, one of the most important things when you go galloping this large animal at a fixed fence is you look where you want to land.
Yeah.
If you look at the bottom of the fence or look right into the fence, guess what happens? You guess how people fall off, or the horse slams on its brakes. So you need to keep your eyes focused where you want to land, because that's where you're gonna go. And it's it's interesting how that analogy applies to so many levels of reality.
That's so important. Right. Okay. Yeah. Let's say here. Yeah, we did this one here. My question. So they will, okay. Yeah, go ahead. Can you read the second paragraph, please? The development. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let me enlarge this.
The development of bodhicitta and its accompanying compassion provides the motivating force behind Mahayana Buddhism. It is only with the awakening of bodhicitta the aspirant is said to have truly entered the path of the bodhisattva. Until the awakening of bodhicitta occurs, the practitioner is considered to possess the motivation of the non-Mahayana paths. For example, one is concerned with one's own liberation from the cycle of rebirth with its attendant suffering.
It's clear, right?
Yeah. It's just saying that it's not a focus on your own personal liberation, but kind of like the Bodhisattva path, you have to have the desire to, well, in line with the Bodhisattva path, you have the desire to, or the aspiration to awaken everyone, or everyone you can, because you see that it's, you know, beyond yourself.
Here, talk about motivation one more time.
Hmm?
Talk about motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have that kind of awakened motivation to become a Buddha. That's your motivation, and by that way, by that type of role, you walk on the path of Bodhisattva. Otherwise, who care about others? Get that care about yourself. Right, it's so important. Yeah. So that is that easy? Is that easy to switch between take care our business and to help others? What do you think? It's easy or speed up?
I mean, I would like to think my business is to help others.
Okay. Yeah, that's because you have the motivation to help others.
Yeah.
So your business there to help others,
Right,
not for yourself.
right.
But all the people, no, my business is mine. I want to get, I mean, to be rich, to enjoy life. That's all.
No, I mean, my business very much designed that offer the best of my qualities to help people.
Yeah,
Like
that because you have the motivation to help others already. So
Yeah.
whichever thing you do, will move toward that path, the path of helping others. But other people, they take care of themselves, they take care of their business. Yeah. Okay, so thank you. Let's I don't know which part we done this one before. Oh, okay, we done this one. Yeah. And Stephen, can you read this one, please? Too long. Yeah.
The later developments of the theories, that one?
Yeah.
Okay. The later developments of the theories of the bodies of the Buddha reflect a general change in the way in which the Buddha is conceived. In early Buddhism, the Buddha is seen as a fixture who attains nirvana, teaches, and finally enters parinirvana, thus exiting samsara forever. While there are some questions surrounding the status of the Buddha after his death, it is clear in the earlier beliefs that he no longer has any direct influence in the world. In the fully developed Mahayana theory, the Buddha becomes more sublime in that he exists on three different planes: earthly, super mundane, and transcendent. The earthly form that ordinary human beings can see is his emanation body. While the Buddha appears to be born, this physical form is merely created by the Buddha out of his compassion for suffering beings. Sambhogakaya, on the other hand, is the idealized or supramundane form of the Buddha that possesses the marks of the fully perfected one. As such, this body appears in different realms according to the different needs of sentient beings and may be closer to what the Buddha really is. Although this body, okay.
It's not here. So we discussed before the three body, right? Right.
Yes.
Yeah, discussed before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and Stephen, you can remember? Can you remember the three body that we discussed before?
It's been a while. I don't remember saying.
Yeah,
one of them was that one there, the emancipation. I remember that phrase.
Yeah, Sam, remember that three body?
Yeah, there's his, you know, the Dharma body, the Dharmakaya, where he's like, that's like his truest form, I guess, like in Nirvana. And then, yeah, there's, the emanation body is the Nirvana Kaya, where he can like take whatever earthly form.
Mhm.
I'm honestly kind of confused about the difference between that one and the Sambo, Gakaya, the
Okay.
super mundane form. Cause it seems like they're both like different forms he can take that are like, I guess like physical forms, but one is like more normal and the other is like more special. I don't know exactly.
Is Kirsten, if you recognize the difference,
I think the,
and let me back
Right.
back here,
the,
right here.
Nirmanakaya, yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
emanation body. So, yeah, that's,
What's the difference?
isn't that, that's how it was, oh no, that was, how it's like radiating.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that makes sense. That's why,
It's how it's like how it's taught or how it's radiate, it's, how the. I think that's, and then, but the Samboga Kaya is like just like the human form, like the human
Mhm.
feature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's like the human teacher, it's like the dissemination, the way that the human the teaching radiates, and then the body of the Dharma itself.
Mm-hmm. So basically, the Dhamma body, right? There's no doubt about that. So the symbol guy carries
Yeah.
the human body,
Mhm.
right? The emanation body is mean the manifestation body. He can manifest any body that people need, essential people needs.
so that's
For
like
this
when
thing.
the Bodhisattvas turn into different stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what called emanation about. Yeah. And Stephen, you follow Stephen?
Yes, Mohawk, I do say.
That's why he
It is really like I've studied, looked at it a number of times, and it's always come hard around. I don't know.
Yeah.
so this body appear in different realms according to different needs of essential beings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Okay. All right. So Miss Kirsten, can you read this untold?
Although this body is a physical body, it is not the gross physical form of the Nirmanakaya. According to some traditional views, the Sambhogakaya only teaches bodhisattvas whose attainments are sufficient enough to enter a pure light. It is this body which is extremely important in East Asian countries, as it is the body of Buddhist devotion.
Is this like in the sutras when it talks about like some of the Buddhas like Abhidhamma being like huge, okay, and like golden and stuff, okay.
The Dharmakaya is synonymous with ultimate truth and is seen being totally transcendent and unchanged.
So clear now? Clear
Yeah.
between these Sambho Kaya body?
Yeah.
Kaya body and the
I wouldn't want to have to explain it to a 6-year-old.
yeah. Okay. So it's clear, right? The Sambho Kaya body is the transformation, manifestation body of Buddha. The other one, the emanation, is no, I'm sorry. The other emanation is the manifestation. Yeah. Can you read this?
The seminal figure of the Mahayana is the Bodhisattva. As the figure of the Bodhisattva gained prominence in the emerging Mahayana, the figure of the Buddha faded more into the background, becoming more sublime and godlike as he did so. However, the Bodhisattva is of such importance in Mahayana that is not to say that he or she is absent in the non-Mahayana movements. The Jataka tales testify to the importance of the Bodhisattva in these movements.
Hmm.
You want to keep going?
No, yeah.
Okay, it's just talking about how, like the Mahayana Buddhism pays more attention to bodhisattvas than Theravada. Theravada Buddhism still talks about it a little, like in the Jataka tales, when we talk about how before he was born, Gautama Siddhartha, he was like all kinds of like other guys and girls and animals and stuff. Right.
Yeah. So basically, especially in Mahayana tradition, like in China, they focus on all Bodhisattva. They don't pay attention much about second Buddha.
Yeah.
But in Theravada tradition, they focus on the historical Buddha, second Buddha, and all or most of the celebration of festival revolve around the Buddha's figures. But in Mahayana tradition, like the Chinese one is evolved around Manchuri, Usta Bodhisattva, Wan Yin Bodhisattva, that the what do you call the universal worthy Bodhisattva. Yeah, when you go to China to those center, the mountain, most of the time you could not recognize second Buddha, who is second Buddha. You get focused on those Bodhisattva. Is that strength? What do you think?
No, I mean,
it's not strange to Houston and I probably, but probably most other Western people would be surprised, because I know that I've heard some people be surprised because there's like the Lashan giant Buddha in China. I told somebody once that that's not Shakyamuni Buddha, that's Amitabha Buddha, or is it? No, it's Maitreya Buddha. And they were like, what? Because they don't know that there's other Buddhas, but
yeah.
And Stephen, you follow, right?
Yes, Mufate.
So when you go to China, it won't be surprised for you. But in Vietnam, this both tradition, Mahayana, Theravada, try to harmonize.
Like the biggest, I think the biggest Buddha statue, maybe, no, I think it's just in Japan. The biggest Buddha statue in Japan is Amitabha Buddha, or they call him Amida Butsu.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and Stephen, can you read, please?
The Bodhisattva is a being who vows to achieve perfect and complete Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. As such, the Bodhisattva sets out on an arduous path which involves the cultivation of 6 or 10 perfections, paramita, and the development of 5 paths, marga, and 10 grounds, bhumi. It is motivation that is said to distinguish the path of the Bodhisattva from other forms of Buddhism. In early non-Mahayanist Buddhism, the goal was outlined in terms of the Sarvatkayana, the path of the disciple, and the Pratyeka solitary Buddha, although admitted as being some kind of awakening by the Mahayana schools. These paths were viewed as inferior. The path of the Bodhisattva, however, was viewed as the path to the attainment of Sakka Sambuddha, that is, complete and perfect Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings.
Yeah.
I somewhat half understand this, but not fully yet.
Hi, yeah, welcome back. So, Miss Kirsten, you can summarize. How you been? Yeah. Your daughter came here that Tuesday. She did. She enjoy. How you been, Kevin? Yeah.
Okay, so, Astrologa. Right, so Astrologa is like a, or Shravakayana
Mm.
is the path of the disciple, so that's the monk. So
Mm.
was that the Arhat? That's just the
Mhm.
path of the monk. And then, or did I skip this? And then, where'd it go? Oh,
Solitary Buddha.
yeah, the Pradhyaka Buddha is the solitary Buddha, so that's someone that, they enlighten, but they don't come out, they don't come back and teach. Is that
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah, they don't come back.
Mm.
Standalone.
That's the only one. Yeah, we can discuss.
And,
Yeah, sorry.
yeah. And, so those paths, that is why you don't call Theravada Hinayana anymore. They don't like that, it's kind of a slur.
It's rude at least.
Yeah.
even heard that.
Yeah, don't been using it.
It needs more like smaller than inferior, but it's so they don't.
Yeah,
like it.
they really don't like it.
Mm.
And they almost really don't even like Theravada, actually, they prefer calling it historical. But anyways, so that's what that is. And, so the Mahayana schools is what developed the path of the Bodhis. Well, they didn't develop it, but they, encouraged it, or, made it applicable for,
Mm.
everyone, or had a way for people to, to go towards Buddhahood without, going right now in this lifetime, giving up all your stuff.
Mm. Yeah. Okay, let us just review. We just discussed about last time we discussed about the bodhicitta, what they call it, motivation. So with everything we do, we have some kind of motivation. For a student, they go to school because they have motivation to become doctor, engineer, and so forth. So that's why in Buddhism, especially in Maha tradition, we have that kind of motivation to attain enlightenment, to become Buddha. That's what Buddhist Dharma is about. And even in the Theravada tradition, they talk much about the Bodhisattva, but they just tell the life, the past life, the Buddha, as Bodhisattva. And don't be surprised when you, for example, when you go to China, most of the time they can say worship or have the image of all Bodhisattva. The Bodhisattva is more essential points than Shakti Buddha, like Wang Xiyin, like Wang Am, like Aristotle Bodhisattva. You heard about that, right? No, the Bodhisattva who stand the hell to rescue hell beings.
He's the one on that book right there.
Yes, that's one.
With the hat, the cane, for staff.
He's like bald.
Yeah, another is Urosawati Bodhisattva and Mansui Bodhisattva. In China, they have 4 mountains to, can say, worship those Bodhisattva. For Toshan, that's for Wang Am. The 5 Peak Mountain is for Mansui, the wisdom one. And the Ermishang is just for Universal Bodhisattva. You know about that? No? You know about that? I will show you. And the last one is the Chiu Hua Shang is this 9 Peak Mountain that worship that Bodhisattva.
I heard there's a mountain called Fragrant Mountain where they say that when she was born as Gaoshan.
Yeah, that
Is
is
that the same one?
no, that is for Wangam Bodhisattva.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Is that
Yeah,
the
I
same
mean,
one?
um,
Is that the same one that's with those other ones that you mentioned, or is it a different one?
oh yeah, let me make for
There's a lot of them.
Red Buddhist mountain in China here for famous here. Let's me show you here. You see this? Okay, you see that here? Here. This is the Chiu Hua Shang is right here. That's this for that Bodhisattva, the earth of Bodhisattva. I went there 1992, 1993. And yeah, it is so wholesome.
They have, I heard that there's like a shrine or a temple where one time he was born in China, they say, and they got like relics from him, or am
No,
I
that's
thinking of something
different. That's
else?
different. Some monk who passed away and they still keep their body there. Yeah, this is Poto Shang where they worship Wangam Bodhisattva right here. I went these two places, but not the other places. Like Wu Tai Shang, that is for Manchuria wisdom Bodhisattva here, and Shan is for the universal worthy Bodhisattva. It's so beautiful. It's just I just watched it today. It's just so you can see it here. Okay, right here short, you could see this right here. See, so huge, so beautiful, so huge. That okay on the mountain. And here, Shan. And you can see that right here. Working on Mao. Okay, right here. This one is short one. I was there for a month. This is in the island. This is Shang. This Shang is Shang. That's where they worship this Buddhism. It's huge. Every mountain has a story. In the temple, the worship is Buddhism. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. And sorry to turn on this. Is that on? Yeah. Okay. And Steven, you follow, right?
Yes, okay.
So somehow I feel that we need to understand both traditions so that we can know how to follow the path. Otherwise, it's be confused. Especially in the tradition, is to focus on the path of self-enlightenment. Take care of ourselves. That's all. another path. Behind the one is focus on Bodhisattva, not talk much about the historical Buddha. So now time that we meet together.
I read a little bit about the master,
Is my master
yeah,
Shenhua?
yeah, that's part of what he said, is that they need to focus on both.
And the Thai monk, the famous Thai monk,
Ajahn Chah.
Ajahn Chah. So I read some of his teaching, and he said, "Well, I wish that next life I would be this type of Buddha, solitary Buddha. That's all."
He was quite he was quite the character. There's some really fantastic stories about him. Like if people were walking too slow, like he would come here and visit the States, and people that were trained to walk really, really slow in meditation, he would walk up to them and ask them if they were feeling okay. Or some other story about like this monk that was suffering really bad from like food poisoning, because they had to eat whatever, and he would like kind of just go in there and laugh and say like, so how's your suffering? And I mean, like he loved them very much, but yeah, he had a really kind of distorted sense of humor.
Got his different methods.
Yeah. But yeah, his writing is really eloquent to be.
Yeah.
I see a lot of quotes from him.
Yeah,
I follow some Australian Buddhist lady who loves him.
yeah.
Yeah, Thai people love him. Yeah, can you see here?
The Buddha himself has been the principal model of the Buddhist holy individual or saint since the early years of Buddhism. The exemplary nature of his life is held out as a paradigm for his followers, and his holiness is indicated by his great wisdom, Mahaprajna, and great compassion, Mahakaruna. It is to his life that reference must be made for any understanding of saintliness in the Buddhist context. So he's the guy to look at. If you want to figure it out, he's the guy.
Yeah, he set good example, right? For his practice. And actually, some monks somehow they love his feature. That's why they follow him. Of course, most of the people follow him because of his exemplary nature.
Well, you say to a Theravada monk, you say sadhu, 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 which means saint, saint, saint. So it's kind of like to respect their saintliness.
Yeah.
Could you make it bigger, please?
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay.
It's okay. Very poor eyesight.
You need to bring your thick glasses you're talking
I mean, I
about.
wear contacts. Even with my glasses, I wouldn't be able to see.
You see here, 250.
Oh, I can get closer.
You want me to, do you want to read?
No, that wouldn't be too. Okay. After the Buddha, the earliest Buddhist saints were his closest disciples, who each attained the enlightened status of Arhat, worthy one. The foremost among them being Ananda, Shariputra,
Mahayana.
Thank you, and Kashyapa or Mahakashyapa. Great. Such was their level of spiritual attainment that, according to the sutras of the Pali Canon, some of them were authorized by the Buddha to deliver whole discourses. An examination of the lives and legends surrounding some of these close disciples reveals that they are identified by certain virtues. For example, Kashyapa is called foremost among those who follow the Dutas, the Dutavada being the code that describes a solitary forest renunciant and meditator. Shariputra, on the other hand, is portrayed as having attained enlightenment by living a flawless life in a settled monastic community. So, all the disciples of the Buddha, all the students that had spiritual attainment.
You understood differentiation.
Yes, he did.
What?
That's very differentiation, education. So, yeah, it's very important.
See the two in the front, two standing. One is Ananda, one is Makashipa. Yeah, we talked about that, right? And actually, he's still in samadhi. And yeah, of course, we could not imagine that
And Magdalena,
Mahakashipa.
well, here Magdalena is he the one that's kind of like gray green?
Yeah, that's Mogollana. But
Yeah.
yeah, the other one that's outside is Mahakashyapa.
Yeah, but I'm saying that character there's the one that when you see the gray green colored monk.
Yeah,
That's who that is.
yeah, sometimes you see that one, it's Mogollana or Mogollana. I don't think they have any different here.
You know story, some of their story
I
before?
know I know a couple of stories about a couple of them. I know about Shariputra because he's in just like a bunch of them, and I know Mogollana. I don't really. I hear about Ananda a lot. I know he's super important, but I always forget what he does, and I really don't know that much about Mahakashyapa at all. So I pretty much can only say that I know much about Shariputra and Mogollana.
You know,
Ananda's the one that memorized everything. Wasn't Ananda the one that memorized all?
yeah,
the
he had good
secret-
memory. He could remember everything Buddha say. That's why after Buddha passed away enter Nirvana 3 months. So he's the main one that decide everything.
Oh yeah, he was the one that did the councils, the early Buddhist councils, right?
Thus have I heard.
Because that's
Yeah.
the ones that he did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so important. Without him, we will not have those couple sutra teaching nowadays. And you know, right, Mauryan,
No, no.
the monk that went to rescue his mom. That's why we have Parent Appreciation Day.
Oh, yes. The hungry ghost.
He after he attended enlightenment hardship, he used his second power to give the food to his mom. Remember that?
Yes.
So, but his, I mean, that the food that his mom put in the mouth become a fire. Why is that?
She's the hungry ghost, right? Yeah.
Like karma, right? So let's say if we give someone sick, really sick, the delicious food, even so delicious, but they cannot consume. So that's why that's the karma there, and that relate to him. Yeah, and it relate to again Makashipa. He is almost in the solitary forest in ocean. That's mean he live in the forest most of the time.
When I think of the forest dwelling ones, I mostly think of Subhuti. He was out there in the forest a lot.
Many of them, but Makashipa is so important figure. Even in my tradition, is considered as the first or the second. I mean that the second Indian Zen master. Remember the story that the Buddha held
With the flower?
the flower?
That
You
was
know that
him?
story?
That was him?
Yeah.
Oh, I just didn't remember the name with the same person.
Yeah, Miss Kirsten, do you know that story?
I don't know.
No. Can you tell?
Yeah.
What's about?
Well, the Buddha had a bunch of monks together to give a teaching, but instead of giving a teaching, he just sat there and held up a flower.
Lotus flower.
Yeah, with like a
yeah,
serene
yeah.
heart. And then like he waited, and the monks, all except for one, were just like confused, like what is he doing? Why is he not talking? But Mahakashyapa understood because it was like a Zen lesson. That was like
He just
without
smiled.
words.
He
Yeah.
just smiled. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think Thich Nhat Hanh did a version of that. There's a famous, although of course he makes a little more for Westerners and. But he did that with the green bean. See yourself.
And
See, or
Stephen,
see the world. See the world in this.
and Stephen, you follow us, and Stephen,
Yes, Mopak, I do say.
probably you may not recognize all of them, right?
No, no, not all, no.
Yeah, just imagine that Marquis Shiba, he's still in samadhi, that mean in concentration, and he wait for the next Buddha, Maitreya Buddha, to appear, so that he can pass the rope in the bowl of technical Buddha. Of course, for us, let's say if we sit still for 30 minutes or 1 hour is too long, but up to now he's still there.
He's a pro.
Yeah, so this is beyond our human thinking. There's many stories of them, and actually there's the book if you have times. You can read this book. Let me actually, if you want, I can send you the book, what they call the Great Disciple of the Buddha. Let me share with you this book here.
I like Subhuti because he, besides him being a forest dweller and knowing a lot, he also his brother was a Nathapindika, right? I think his brother was a Nathapindika, the best layperson supporter who bought the Jada Grove for them to make the monastery at Jada Grove. That was have like a ton of sutras that whenever they're at that one.
Yeah, this book is about almost 600 pages, and it most of the Buddha disciples, including the lay people too.
Would you mind forwarding that to me?
Sure, I will send to you. Okay, after this.
That cover looks so familiar. Do
We have another book that is in that same
Yeah,
series.
there's like a publisher that makes like a bunch of them.
We have them on the bookshelves.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could buy it.
Yeah, so they talk in detail about those monks and nuns, with lay people, lay supporter of the Buddha in detail. This is the name here. Anyway, so yeah, after this I will send it to you. All right, so let's see here. Yeah. Miss Kisson, right? Yeah, please.
Let's see, where are we? The earliest?
Yeah.
Okay. Earliest records that we possess of the lives of the architects are the poems found in the Kudakara group of small texts section of the polity. These collections are known as the Paragata poems of the male elders and the Paragata poems of the female elders. And they were composed by those who lived the wandering lifestyle of the men, probably during the Buddha's lifetime. Both collections were transmitted orally for centuries prior, being written down towards the end of the 1st century BCE. The poems are ecstatic songs, which detail both the hardships and the particular way of life, and also the bliss that arises with the attainment of life.
Yeah, you can stop there, please. Probably not familiar with this.
I know one of the Terigata ones.
Have you read that, Miss Christian? Read of them before?
No, I've read.
You have, but you
I
don't
mean,
know it because
I mean, I've studied a lot of polytext, but like, you know, we're talking about a library.
there's a lot to keep track of, but the Terigata is one of the ones that they actually do at the parents' appreciation again, because the one that's like mom, talking about like as a mom, your mom had you in her body for so many months, and then,
no, that's different. No,
that's not from the Terigata.
no.
I thought it was.
Teragata is talk about most of the arhat. They told their story how they told their story of the practice until they attain enlightenment.
It's from the monks and the nuns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a poem from one of
The
the
poem
nuns,
from the
though.
nuns,
Yeah,
Okay.
they talk about their enlightenment process.
And so, and technically Buddhist monks aren't monks, because the word monk is actually a Christian thing, but somehow in our translation here we call them monks. But that they were, and particularly the Theravada monks, they're mendicants, which kind of meant that they were beggars. Like, no, I don't, that's not the right word, like, that's not the right word, but that they lived on. Yeah, yeah.
well, it's not necessarily like a Christian thing. It comes from like Greek, like mones, which means to be single, to be celibate, basically. So to be a monk just basically means to be celibate in like the old Greek.
Medicines when they in the past, like in the
Yeah,
third tradition,
they
they go
go
out to beg for food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which,
So
I mean, like in Asia, that's how most of, or yeah, a huge portion of them
Yeah.
still exist. They just
in the
here-
past, most of the male in Sri Lanka, in Thailand, in Burma, before they get married, before they did any kind of business, they have to be monk for training for a few months or for years. It's up to them. Yeah. Anyway, so
There was a monk who was like a Westerner who became like a timeline that I followed on Facebook, but he actually quit being a monk recently, which I think it's surprising, but it's also apparently normal, like for the Theravadins to like stop being monks sometimes.
yeah, they don't need to dedicate their life for being a monk. It's only few months, few years, or whatever, whenever they like.
I heard that sometimes most of them don't do this because most of them don't like this, but I've heard that sometimes there's even a thing where they'll like make you a monk for just like a really short period of
3
time.
months.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've heard temporary. I've heard a lot of temporary.
I heard some don't approve of that, but some of them do it. Like just really short ones. I think I heard actually what I was talking about was not 3 months. I heard that like there's like something in some country where like some monastery like let you be like a monk for like a week. But I'm like, how can you learn anything in a week?
Like
Except
that's-
under the not real monk, it's just a novice precept, only 10 precept, that's all.
It's like a retreat.
Yeah.
It's short.
Yeah, because that's not, well, I know in the Theravada tradition, that's still a lot of rules you gotta know.
Yeah.
Like, to learn in a week, you know.
Okay. Yeah. So and Stephen, can you read the last part, please? Yeah, both you can say is that
Which one?
within.
Okay. Within the poems, there is much evidence of the virtues associated with Buddhist sainthood. For example, the renunciation both of sensory pleasure and of the way of life in the householder, layperson, together with the release from the cycle of rebirth. It is clear within both collections that the Buddha is the paradigm of the saintly life. I saw the light of the world. I paid homage to him and sat down. Out of great compassion, the one with wisdom taught me the Dharma. I didn't quite understand that completely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that I'm still learning. So
Oh. It's just saying that one of these poems is just written by a person who said that, you know, he came and he saw the Buddha, and the Buddha was like the light of the world.
So basically, those poems talk about their life,
Yeah,
their
yeah.
structure.
Yeah, it's just like
Hmm.
instead of like sutras, which are really like formal and like deep, like it seems like I mean these are still have some deepness, but it seems like they're just like little short things by like
Short story about them.
Yeah.
Short story about them themselves.
yeah,
This problem, and yeah,
like they're by like regular monks or even like regular lay people instead of like super important.
yeah,
like,
it's just whoever they came across, it's like
Yeah.
a story, it's those,
Yeah, most of them have those story in that kind of poems to talk about how they practice to attain enlightenment, become arhat. And even the nun too, that they call the Theri. Thera is the monk right here. Right? Thera Gatha, the poem of the male, the elder. Theri Gatha is the poem of the female elder. So most of Buddha disciple, especially the nun, they told their story in that kind of poems. Some of them were princess, like Sirada White, before become Buddha. Some of them were queen, even some of them were prostitute. The one that have attained should become the holy nun there. And it's so beautiful when they describe that. Yeah. This feels strange for you. You have not heard about this one.
Yeah.
You can type online. This is now they translate it into English. It's convenient. That's why in the past, this is many of them, especially many nuns, attend nirvana or the holy nun. So that's why in Buddhism, yeah, physically we're different, man, female, but mentally we're same. Everyone has potential to attain that state of mind. No more, no less. Depend upon our practice. Naturally, this one sutra, I don't know whether you know, it called the Shurma Sutra. It starts with a daughter's of a prostitute. Somehow, when she looked at Ananda, because he's so handsome, so she loved him. And so somehow she went back to ask her mom to give the spell so that she could seduce Ananda. Of course, according to Mahasutra, especially that sutra, Shriyama Sutra, say Ananda on the verge of breaking the precept. So Buddha asked Manjusri Buddhista to give that Shriyama Sutra mantra to rescue him. So basically, when Ananda got back to see Buddha, and this girl followed him to see the Buddha, and she cried, "Please give me back Ananda. I love him so much." And from that time on, the Buddha explained to her about the attachment. And so the Buddha asked, "Do you love Ananda so much?" Of course, he said yes. About his eyes, about his ear, and so forth and so forth, until she recognized, wow, we get the body.
Yeah.
And what happened? She became Buddhist nun, and actually she attended arship before Ananda too. Yeah, there's so many stories like that. Yeah, so in Buddhism, it's just so dynamic that everyone has different path, and whether we male, female, sometimes we start first, but we finish late, and someone may start late, but they finished early. So depend upon their practice, depend upon their motivation, and so forth. Okay, so I will email to you. That book is so interesting. If you like to know about
Yeah.
disciple.